flip it over to the negative side of things. We don't really call these guys busts. It's just ADPs that we don't like. So we call it ADPs to avoid because you can pick up usually somebody with a similar profile much later in the draft. And I have the highest ADP fade this season, and that's Robert Thomas. There is just a significant lack of goal scoring here. He has a career high of 26 goals and has averaged just 21 goals per season over the last 4 seasons. So to me, taking a strict center with 25 goal upside in the 4th round makes just absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. I actually liked him as a value last year with an ADP of 113.5. I think his true value lies probably somewhere in the middle between 40 and 114. But yeah, it's just far too early for me. We talked about some guys. He didn't even sniff our top 15 centers. Mark Scheifele, Sebastian Aho, 2 guys that are going 13 and 22 picks later than Robert Thomas. Both cracked our top 10. So yeah, just the ADP makes no sense. I like Thomas as a player, but just does not score enough goals. Really is kind of a one-trick pony. He's going to get you 60 assists and 80 points, but just not enough production there to be a top 40 pick for me. So I am not going to have any Robert Thomas at that spot this year. Beebs, take it away with your ADP to avoid.
Yeah, it was, people might think I chose the Dallas Star because, the Colorado Dallas thing, but this one was too glaringly obvious for me. And actually this one hits home even more. It's Matt Duchene in Dallas. He is my person who's expected to perform worse than we are seeing. Duchene is currently going 112 off the board, which is incredibly high for a guy who just does not excite me at all with what he does across the board. 82 points last year. Fantastic. It's phenomenal. Matt had a good year. But before that, he had 65 and 56 across 2 full seasons. He struggles yearly to reach 200 shots on goal. He had 152 last year. So with 152 shots and 82 points, that also meant he hit 30 goals. But to do that, he had to shoot 19.7%. And Matt Duchene has played in the NHL since the dawn of time, since Colorado put up 48 points in a season. And Matt Duchene averages 13.6% in his career. So he was almost 6.1% higher last year. That's pretty glaring to show that there's some regression coming here for a player who is turning age 35 this year. But the one thing that scares me the most about Duchene is last year to get to 82 points, he had to do so off the back of 27 power play points. And he was able to do that because Jason Robertson was struggling throughout the year, and Jason Robertson was moved throughout that lineup. And as of right now, Brock currently has Duchene on power play 1 on our lines, which is the reason I believe he's ADP 112. But if we come out at training camp and Jason Robertson's on power play 1, as a lot of people would expect, and as we've seen in previous seasons, including the first year that Duchene got brought in, then Duchene becomes a power play 2 player, and all of a sudden that 27 power play points is a very unlikely feat for him to hit. So for me, if you're drafting at this point, there's players with pretty much similar floors, way higher ceilings, who produce a lot more shots and have a way higher goal potential. So for me, I'm staying away from Matt Duchene. Dallas is a very deep team, and with his age and just overall playability, defensive ability, he's not going to be having a career year at age 34, 35 in Dallas on their 2nd or 3rd line. So I'm staying away from Matt Duchene. If other people want to draft him, go for it. But this is my bust this year. And you know what? It'd be great to see him get to 150 shots this year. That'd be fantastic, Matt. Let's try to do that.
I think that there's pretty good chance he stays on power play 1. He was so good there last year, but I think the biggest concern for him is just obviously the fact that Rupe Hintz and Wyatt Johnson are still there. And unless he moves to the wing, he's a guy that could obviously move down the lineup. And if he ends up as the 3rd line center with Jamie Benn, it's going to be hard to justify that ADP, which, as you mentioned, 112.5. D, sticking with the Colorado Dallas rivalry here, who's your ADP to avoid?
Yeah, plug your ears, Beebs. We're going to talk about Brock Nelson, ADP of 90 right now, consensus rank at DFO of 141. So we like him to go a full almost 4 rounds earlier than where he's at right now. I think historically, Nelson made himself into a really reliable fantasy asset with the Isles, thanks to extreme usage and shot volume. And we knew that inevitable change in scenery at the deadline would damage his fantasy value to some degree. Really, we got the ideal landing spot, so we thought, with the Avalanche, right? A team that historically leans heavily on their top 6, possesses enough high-end talent to surround Nelson with some pretty good complementary players, even as the second-line pivot. Surprisingly, though, Nelson did see a substantial drop in ice time, down from 19:21 with the Isles last year to 17:30 with the Avs, almost a full 2-minute decline. Certainly not insignificant, and it had an impact on his county numbers, as you would expect. He tallied just 6 goals, 7 assists in 19 regular season games with Colorado, despite a rather fortunate 14.3 on-ice shooting percentage, suggesting that, the true production could be even worse than what we saw during that stint at the end of last season. His shot volume had been trending in the wrong direction for the last couple of the seasons to begin with. He's, entering his age 34 season. But with the drop in ice time, he managed just 31 shots on goal in 19 games with Colorado. So less than 2 shots a game, just not going to cut it for a top 100 pick. And he saw some extended run on Colorado's top power play unit to close out last season, but he faces a lot stiffer competition as the Avs enter the season with a healthy roster. Certainly never seems to hold for them, but right now he's got a lot of competition for power play spots. McKinnon, Makar, you could probably say Netchas are obviously all locks for spots in that first unit, which means Nelson needs to beat out 2 of Nichushkin, Lehkonen, or Landeskog for one of the final 2 spots. So all this leaves Nelson with a very shaky floor, not a whole lot of upside when you consider the lack of exposure to McKinnon at 5v5 and potentially on the power play as well. So for me, easy pass at his current ADP of 90. I think it's a guy that, certainly deserves to be rostered, but deserves to be probably towards the bottom of your roster. And it's just not where he's going right now.
Yeah, and he's probably going to continue to go there because his Yahoo ranking is 83. So he's just going to be sticking there, and he's going to drop probably a round, and people are like, what? Like, he's ranked high. We should take Brock Nelson. Just to compare to last year, his ADP was 159.3. So like that feels like a lot more doable without question. I just want to see, where's Robert Thomas is ranked 40th on Yahoo. He's going 40th, and Duchene is ranked 92nd, and he's dropping to 112. So that's an ADP that's probably not going to move much either throughout the season. Thanks for watching this video. If you want more great fantasy hockey and betting content from myself, Carter Hutton, Matthew Barnaby, and the rest of the DFO analysts, make sure you subscribe to the DFO Fantasy and Betting YouTube channel today and never miss a minute.